Which 2025 games actually have a real shot at Game of the Year? Not the loudest trailers, not the biggest budgets, the ones with real design guts, polish, and the kind of staying power that keeps people talking months later. Today we dig into 10 titles that could walk away with the crown, and why each one deserves to be in the conversation. Game of the Year is part craft award, part cultural snapshot. Voters look for polish, innovation, emotional weight, and something that lingers after the credits. Some winners move the medium forward. Some win by perfecting a formula. I picked games that, in 2025, show at least two of these things: technical or design innovation, clear emotional or narrative weight, cultural buzz, and broad critical love. I also prioritized longevity. Will people still talk about this game in 6 months? That's the baseline. Number 10, Persona 4 Revival, remake with ambition. Why it could win? Atlus is not just remastering, they are modernizing systems and reworking the story beats to feel relevant. If Persona 4 Revival balances nostalgia with meaningful new content and technical polish, it has two big voting levers: emotional resonance and production quality. Voters love a well-done reinvention. What could trip it up? Remakes sometimes carry a voter bias. Is it creative enough to beat original titles? That's the question. If the changes feel safe or purely cosmetic, it will lose momentum. Signature appeal. A perfect remake gives both legacy fans and newcomers a reason to campaign for it. If Persona 4 Revival becomes the conversation starter this year, it's in play. Number 9, Avowed, Obsidian's narrative RPG ambitions. Why it could win. Obsidian writes complex systems and layered narratives. Avowed promises choice-led writing, dense world building, and a toolkit for player expression. GOTY voters who prioritize narrative depth and systemic integrity will notice this. What could trip it up? Complexity can be a double-edged sword. If the systems feel opaque or the game is buggy at launch, the depth becomes a liability. Execution matters as much as ambition. Signature appeal. When an RPG balances systems and story without obvious rough edges, award juries pay attention. Avowed's pedigree makes it a natural contender.
Our very souls. You want us to trust you. But the truth is, you scare us. The way you fight, the power you wield, the secrets you keep. You're either here to save us.
Number 8, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, auteur spectacle or niche oddity. Why it could win? Kojima makes experiences that split opinion and stick with people. If the sequel sharpens its emotional themes, tightens pacing, and pairs those strengths with technical polish, this title could be a cultural event. Voters sometimes reward audacious authorship. What could trip it up? Kojima's work is polarizing by design. If the game reads as too self-indulgent for the majority of jurors, it will struggle to secure broad votes. Signature appeal. Artistic ambition and cinematic craft. When that lines up with accessible storytelling, Kojima-style projects can surprise award committees.
He's still in danger. Still on the brink of extinction. Don't act like you don't see it. A lot of things changed after you went off on your own, especially within the UCA. Bridges no longer oversees the distribution network. They withdrew once things were up and running. So your friends and co-workers all went their separate ways. Within network coverage, there's no need to rely on human porters anymore. So after I closed up shop, I went and started a new group. One that handles work in regions outside the UCA.
Number 7, Doom: The Dark Ages, reinvention with brutality. Why it could win? Doom historically sets a high bar for mechanical excellence. A medieval reimagining that introduces fresh combat loops, level design innovations, and strong pacing can be the technical showcase voters love. If it innovates while staying visceral, it's a dark horse. What could trip it up? FPS entries must do more than look great. If the medieval concept is gimmicky or the combat loop lacks depth, it won't hold in the long conversation. Signature appeal. A bold genre twist executed with polish can become the technical darling of award season. Number 6. Monster Hunter Wilds, an accessible evolution of a system game. Why it could win? Monster Hunter Wilds promises open-world scope paired to the series' tight systems. If it smartly expands accessibility while keeping the complex loop that fans love, it becomes both a critical and commercial standout. Voters reward games that broaden appeal without losing identity. What could trip it up? If the open-world design dilutes the core loop, it may not land. Clarity in design is essential. Signature appeal. When a systems-heavy franchise becomes welcoming and still deep, award voters notice.
Great season of plenty has arrived, and we can share in it together.
I've selected you as a lead hunter for this expedition.
It's not much of a lead, but it's the best one we've got. You're gonna sit and cry or get up and help? Yeah, let's do it!
My vote is to save as many lives as possible.
I had no idea just how big the world is. Hunter, what even is that thing? It's not like any Rathalos I've ever seen.
Number 5. Borderlands 4, franchise refinement at scale. Why it could win? A franchise sequel that cleans up core systems, introduces meaningful narrative stakes, and scales content without bloat can hit both player and critic marks. Borderlands 4, if polished and focused, could be the big, fun, critically loved option in 2025. What could trip it up? Tone and novelty. If it feels like more of the same without real mechanical or narrative evolution, voters might pass. Signature appeal. Blockbuster polish plus accessible fun. That combo plays well with mixed juries.
Be advised, a citywide curfew has been enacted. Violators will be shot on sight.
Number 4. Split Fiction, Hazelight's narrative co-op with weight. Why it could win? Hazelight excels at emotional co-op-driven stories. Split Fiction promises that same intimacy, but on a larger scale. If the writing lands and the multiplayer design is seamless, this is a natural Game of the Year candidate. Voters respect handcrafted narrative craft. What could trip it up? Scope. If the game overreaches and loses that precise emotional touch, it won't hit the top spots. Hazelight's track record helps, but execution still matters. Signature appeal. Emotional resonance in a shared experience. Awards love things that move people together.
Hands above your heads.
But the thing is, they're strangers, and Miyu writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump between a sci-fi world and a fantasy world. We at Hazelight love variation, and you'll have a unique mechanic for every level. Let me give you some examples. In this level, you start out by finding dragon eggs that hatch.
Hey, stop licking.
they become a little bit bigger.
Number 3, Blueprints. Small team, big idea. Why it could win. Indies win when they deliver a concise, refined vision that players remember. Blueprint seems to be exactly that, a memorable concept executed with clarity. If critics embrace its originality and word-of-mouth spreads, it could push into the top tier. What could trip it up? Indies need consistent critical coverage and traction. Without it, even brilliant ideas can get overshadowed by bigger releases. Signature appeal. Underdog energy plus a singular design idea. That is the kind of story awards like to celebrate.
Location of the 46th room of my 45-room estate.
I suspect you wish me to look into your future.
Should my grandnephew fail, then this gift shall lapse.
Number 2, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, underdog with breakout potential. Why it could win. When a small studio nails a fresh design language and a compelling narrative, award momentum follows. Clair Obscur has early critical love for its design choices. If it sustains that momentum through launch, it could be the indie that steals the season. What could trip it up? Scale and staying power. If the initial excitement fades or the game lacks depth beyond its hook, juries will move on. Signature appeal. A classic breakout play, brilliant, focused, and impossible to ignore once people start talking.
Is this true? Miles with him. We need to go, now. Who are you?
Number 1, Ghost of Yotei, the safe bet with the biggest upside. Why it could win. Sucker Punch understands cinematic gamecraft. If Ghost of Yotei matches the emotional and technical heights veterans expect, it checks all the Game of the Year boxes: polish, cultural impact, and emotional resonance. It has studio pedigree, a built-in audience, and the potential to lead conversations across platforms. That matters in award voting. What could trip it up? Expectation is the enemy. If the sequel is technically messy or fails to innovate enough, those expectations become a problem. But when a studio brings refinement and fresh ideas, award bodies notice. Signature appeal. Prestige plus artistry. That combo wins a lot of awards.
Get ready to die! You don't scare me!
Patterns voters actually reward. Across this list you see the same ingredients. Very few rough edges. Polish is the baseline. Meaningful invention, either new tech, new systems, or a new way of telling stories. Cultural conversation. Did people keep talking about it 3 months after launch? Emotional impact. Does the game linger after you stop playing? If a title hits at least 3 of those points, it is usually in the GOTY discussion. Wildcards and surprises. Every year has a shock. A tiny studio could surprise us. An expansion could rewrite a game's legacy. Or a game with a controversial launch can still win if the follow-up shows care and improvement. Don't forget those long shots. They are the reason GOTY season stays interesting. If I had to bet, Ghost of Yotei leads the pack for sheer scale and prestige. but Clarobscure and Blueprints are real threats if they sustain critical momentum. Split's fiction has the pedigree to be a crowd favorite, and Avowed could surprise if it nails its systems and narrative. The thing is, GOTY is part art and part narrative. Momentum and conversation matter as much as design. Which 2025 pick do you think will actually win? Put your vote in the comments. I read all of them, and I'll make a follow-up video with a betting-style prediction based on early awards and critic ballots. If you like this breakdown and you want honest predictions, deep dives, and picks you can actually use, subscribe to No RTX Gamer. Drop a like if you disagree with my top 3. I want to see the hot takes. This is No RTX Gamer. I'll see you in the next deep dive.